You want to wait until right on 7 o'clock on the button?
Start.
Okay. Pretty close. Call the meeting to order. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our first item on the agenda is Sherry Good Eagle will be giving us our opening prayer.
I want to see if you set off the sprinklers.
Well, coming from my training,
We should all had raincoats on. Umbrellas.
my name is Sherry Gadigo. I'm from Siksika. I'm very honored to be invited this evening. I'm a part of two societies from Siksika, and that is the Beaver Barn Girl and the Baker. So yeah, I was pretty excited. I was talking with Linda for a bit, and I'm quite excited to come today. And what I have here is sage. This is actually the female sage. In our tradition, this is actually a smudge for women for cleansing. So I'm gonna be combining it for everybody in the room. And this is it's for cleansing, and we usually do it in the mornings and in the evenings. A lot of times, you have rough days, a lot of times in life things just aren't right, and this is just like an offering. Ayo apisatoke, ayo nadose, ayo kipataki, ayo ksistaki, anok koko amox matapix no cake missa, amox asatapix, siksika, pikani, muskapi pikani, ayo pakita, ayo sistaki, no cake missa, amox apikoix anokce siko. Dear Creator, I offer up strength for their meeting tonight, and that things may be cleared, and that they go into their meeting with a clear mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, tell us the name for Strathmore, Blackfoot. Tell her what it means.
It means big corner.
Big corner. Opaxuk.
Say that again.
Opaxuk. You say
Omxikoke.
Omaxuk.
Omxikoke, and that means big corner. And then when you go to what is that community over here? It means small corner.
Nameka. Yeah. Nameka.
So that would be Boxikoke.
And then Calgary is
Lochgensis. Yeah.
Tell them the name for Gleason. That's my favorite.
Sochkitsi. There used to be this store owner that was there, and he was a really big guy. Really big guy. So the people called him Sochkitsi.
Big belly.
So I'd like to leave this with you guys.
Oh,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that?
Next item on our agenda is addition and deletions to the agenda, and we'll start out with Councillor Sobel.
I have the only addition I wanted to make, Your Worship, and I guess I'll make it at the discretion of council, was to add the composting agreement with H.H. Uxted Limited under 7 old business. that is a new, an add-on, and I appreciate that. I would need the council's permission to add that on.
Do we have to do it by vote? By
We'll see if anyone objects to it.
any objections? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Please add. Councillor Bulkland?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Okay. And Councillor Wells?
Nothing, Your Worship. My things can fit under questions between councillors or to administration.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Rempel?
Nothing, Your Worship.
And Deputy Mayor Fuel?
Wow,
It is July.
that's my time. Oh, interesting. Just a question about town job postings.
Where would you like to put that?
Uh,
Just under questions to?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
just bring that forward then.
Okay.
And Councillor Peterson?
Hi, yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like under 8.6 to add museum committee
Okay.
of new business.
Any objections?
No.
Okay, please add that. And administration?
Your Worship, on 5.1, I'd like to cross it off.
Remove that one? Okay.
And I would really like to have the lease agreement for composting at that place.
Okay.
So are you suggesting that we should take 7.1
Yes,
and move it
Move
to
it to-
5.1?
yes.
Do you have any objections to that, Councillor Sobel?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why we're doing that, because it's an old business.
Where do you want?
Just, I guess so, Collie didn't have to sit through.
Oh, to move it up?
Yes.
Just to move it up.
Sure. If that's the cost.
That was the reason,
That's
yeah.
the reason. Okay, no problem, thank you.
Okay, and also 8.5, I'd like to move it up to under, like, new business, right there at the top, so that Tracy and the others don't have to wait.
So we'll call that one 8.0?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a good number.
No other items?
8.7,
Okay.
donation to museum committee.
Oh, right, thank you.
That's it.
That's
Your
it.
Worship, I move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Any questions in regards to the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. First item on our agenda, or pardon me, minutes of the previous meeting 4.1. And if somebody would like to make a motion in regards to the meeting of June 18th, 2014.
Your Worship, I would move that we adopt the June 18th, 2014 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Are there any questions in regards to it? No comments? All in favor? And carried. So that brings us to delegations, and we have 5.1 composting.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Worship, we have a lease agreement for the composting site. This project came before council on June 4th to the regular council meeting for approval, the project itself. And council had a few questions as to how this arrangement was going to work and asked that administration bring back a lease agreement for council's approval. Okay, so the lease agreement just sets out the parameters of the operations of the project, town's obligations, and the lessee's obligations. And we had forwarded this to council earlier for review and just looking for an approval.
Do we have a recommendation?
I would make a motion, Your Worship, that council approve the lease agreement between the town of Strathmore and H&H Huckstead Enterprises Limited, and that the CAO be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the town.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
I would just like to say, Mr. Mayor, that huge kudos to Huckstead Enterprises and to Linda and the people, your people, for all the work that you've put into this, and so my deepest thanks and gratitude for that. And I really believe that the support and cooperation is something that's going to become a major legacy for our community and will continue well into the future. And it's something that I think we owe a debt of gratitude to all of your work. And
Thank you very much.
it'll be a mutually beneficial continued partnership. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next delegation is Strathmore Wheat Kings. Please come forward and good evening.
Good evening. Don't have to take up a whole bunch of your time. See, it's on the agenda, but we're actually here to ask for a minor hockey rate for ice for the 2014-15 season of the Wheat Kings. We've provided a copy of our budget that we are hoping to stick to this coming season. And as you can see, there's a slight shortfall at the end of the season. We're just trying to make ends meet and hopefully balance the budget this season.
Okay.
I guess the thinking behind it is minor hockey's purchased the Wheat Kings. It runs as its own entity, but it is a minor hockey team is why we were somewhat expecting to get a minor hockey rate, but because it's a minor as well as adult team, the adult rates are assumed, I guess.
Questions?
Yeah. Your worship, to Dr. Stanford, can you advise us what the difference between the rates are?
Tracy's looking.
I think Mike has it here.
So the 2014 rates for youth prime time per hour, including GST, are $122.53, and the adult prime time is $196.29.
Councillor Sullivan?
Just so I'm clear on this, do the youths get charged the youth cost, the youth price, and the adults the adult price? Or do we know?
So in the past, they've always been charged the adult rate, and then in the last season, the Wheat Kings, which would have been
2
years
seasons
ago, that's what we did, is we charged adults the adult rate and
Right. So is that what's happening? Is that what your numbers are counting on?
I believe we're working on a blended rate, assuming we have a blend of both adults and youths right now.
Yeah.
So it's been added up and divided by 2 to get an average rate is what we're budgeting right now.
So just so I can understand, clarify, are you asking us to charge the adults a youth rate?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Bolton?
Thank you, Your Worship, through the chair. If I'm reading this budget right, total ice rentals, is that the number we're looking at? Where
Yes.
you want it to drop by 5,000?
Yes. We're budgeting for 5 3/4 hours of ice a week over 24 weeks, which is 138 hours, which works out to about $5,089 difference.
Using the blended rate.
Yeah.
And the difference is $36.88 an hour.
So I'm just a little concerned here, now that you got that one answered. I realize we're dealing with the Wheat Kings. Are we going to have the same request coming from the other team?
If I may, the Wheat Kings are the only team where this is a situation where they have both minors and
Okay.
adults on the same team.
Because this certainly, my personal view is it's certainly not helping our operating deficit. We're going to get larger down here instead of shorter, but I can see your point there, but or maybe somebody else has some questions.
Deputy Mayor Fuel?
I just had 2 questions. One was clarification on Councillor Sobel's. Are you looking at a blended rate for the whole team roster then, as opposed to some paying youth, some paying adult?
We're budgeting for a blended rate right now.
And is that the rate that you're coming to council for, so that there would be a blended rate for the whole team?
We were actually coming to council for the youth prime time per hour.
which is 122.53?
Yes.
Okay. And then my second question, since you've presented us the budget from the past, if I could refer you back to could you just explain what the bad debt expense would have been for $4,900?
From before,
Yeah,
we have no idea. We just
Okay.
purchased the team this year and we purchased it clean.
okay,
This is a roll-in of the last 5 years' operating expenses of that team, which we based our budget on.
so Strathmore Minor Hockey now owns
Correct.
the Wheatland, and are they the Wheatland Kings or Wheat Kings?
They are Strathmore Wheatland Kings 2014.
Okay, minor hockey, okay, thank you.
Councilor Peterson?
I have a question. I want to say that I support that. These are really youthful players, hockey players, and I think that they deserve some support. But as Councilor Blockland pointed out, we have a huge cash flow problem with our arena and our ice time. And one of the things that I was wondering if you would consider, if your hockey organization would consider some kind of work in kind. In other words, Tracy can tell me that I should just be quiet about this, but she expends superhuman energy in putting together volunteerism for many organizations throughout the community or organized functions throughout the community. And I for one, would be incredibly more than prepared to look at what you're requesting and look at it over the long term. If your organization would be willing to put some donated hours forward in kind and work with Tracy with regards to that, I'd be more than supportive of that. And I know our hockey teams in our community have done that in many ways and contributed to the community, and I recognize that. And I also freely admit to my ignorance with regards to anything that the Wheat Kings may have done in the past. I wouldn't be aware of that if they had.
Well, hopefully we can change your mind in the future. I actually did talk to Tracy about that, and it is our intent to be involved in, Jumpstart, really involved with minor hockey, and give anything back to the town that we can, whether it's, in September, if we all do a team building thing, go to the Kinsman Park and clean the Kinsman Park, or, obviously anything we can do that way is good for our team and as well as good for the community. So anything like that we would be happy to do.
So Your Worship, I would be prepared to move a motion that.
Let me ask a question too.
Go. Well, or I can move the motion. You can ask your questions then.
Just a few quick questions then, go ahead. In your budgeting, under the total ice rental, the previous information you had was from old stuff. Your 15,000, is that at the rate of 196 or is that at the rate of 122?
That is at a blended rate of 159, 141, I believe.
So it's going to bring it down a smidgen more if we do approve your youth rate. Okay. The other question I have, with you doing your budgets, and I know budgets are tough to do, you're looking at your game admission of 24,000, and how confident do you feel that you're going to be able to meet the 24,000 in regards to gate admissions?
Speaking from history with the team, I know they've sold out their games far better than the Bisons as a comparison. Standing room only, around the glass. It's a different style of hockey, I know, and it brings out a lot of people. I think we're fairly confident we're going to meet that.
Okay.
We've budgeted on about 400 people at each game, and one game per week at home.
Okay, good. And the other question, you've got program advertising sales, you're estimating at 14,000. And again, how confident do you feel that you're going to be able to meet that?
Based on past history, we're pretty confident.
Yes.
Yeah. We've secured our 5 major sponsors as of last week.
Okay, good. I'll entertain a motion. There's questions? Councillor Sobel.
Sorry, one more, actually two. I have two questions. One is, what's the normal split between adults and youths on the team? Is there an average 70-30, 50-50? Anybody know?
It, on a junior, it wouldn't be a very good split in our favor right now.
Trying to help you out here.
I know.
He's being
I'm a
honest.
horrible liar.
But every other year, it kind of switches up now.
He's being honest, and that's what we want. That's okay.
Can you give us a rough idea now that I started this line of questioning?
Probably 2 junior or 2 under 18s. Right? But I kind of look at this myself personally a little bit different, that, you know, the men's pickup teams that are playing is a little bit different than what we're trying to bring here. Like, these are,
No, I get it.
you know, 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids that are going to school, working. We're still trying to, you know, keep them engaged in hockey, keep them active so they can, you know, stay in the game, come back and coach, you know, in years. Whereas the men's pickup thing, it's a bunch of guys that want to go out, have fun, have some beer. So myself personally, the $198, you know, for those guys, and, you know, they're taking an hour and a half a week, is a lot different than what we're trying to accomplish here, taking, you know, close to 6 hours of ice per week.
And of course, we're hoping it's going to bring people to our community at the same time.
You know, so the support of the Wheat Kings is a given. I have a lot of time for you guys. It's just a difficult one. I'm wondering, Your Worship, if I could impose on our director for any comment that she may or may not wish to make. Well, what's your opinion on this? Do you have any?
I don't know, I can see both sides, and I get that, as a person who manages the budget, it's really difficult, because if you give a discount, that's just more money we have to make up somewhere else. On that side, it just puts more stress on us. But at the same time, I do, just because they're 18, they're not really adults yet, right? They don't have high-paid jobs, and they're trying to play hockey. They're going to school, so I don't, sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
And just, if I may, I've worked it backwards. If we have 25 players on the team with the savings, it's going to be an average savings for each player that's playing of $203 or $200. We'll be able to take our fee from $900 down to $700 for them to play.
I would say that I really like Council Peterson's suggestion. There's lots of things, events and not so fun tasks that we need manpower to do in the arena or in other facilities through here that we could use strong hockey players to.
Councillor Wall.
Your Worship, to Dr. Stanford, is there a student rate?
Yes.
Can you tell me what that student rate is?
I think we took the student rate out last year.
Okay, so we just
We
have
threw it
the,
out?
Well, these guys are working.
Like the school hour classes or the student?
like a
No, that's during
student
school
rate.
hours.
Sorry, we do have a student rate, but we charge that to like go to school and
Classes,
it is very low.
I'm assuming below the 122.
That's the school hour
That's the
classes, right?
school hours,
So it's
and because they rent during the day, right, it helps go up to
51.15.
I guess my question to the presenters would be, if all of a sudden you were in a situation where you had a great surplus, would you be willing to renegotiate with us if we were willing to drop the rate down?
Absolutely. I mean, our goal is for this thing to run on its own, and we're just here asking for this 1 year. Like we're trying to get a dressing room built for these guys in the arena, which is probably in the $20,000 range. It's not even in here that we're still trying to fundraise for, and all in all, it should provide betterment for the arena overall.
Thank you.
Councillor Fuel was next. Or Deputy Mayor Fuel, sorry.
Thank you. Well, following on the heels of what you just said, the fact that you guys are working so hard to try to reinstate this team and bring it back to Strathmore, I'm wondering for future considerations, if we look at a one-year idea to reinstate this team and get it off the ground again, maybe there's a way to differentiate rates based on a category like elite hockey players, such as Bisons, Wheatland Kings, which would then separate them from regular adults. So these would be, I mean, obviously the Bisons is a AAA midget team, which is high caliber. Wheatland Kings is a higher caliber hockey than a bunch of guys who go in for pickup. So maybe there's a way to, for the future, to categorize how we would charge for ice rental for these two teams that would differentiate from regular adults coming into play and practice. So maybe that would be, but I like the idea of a one-year idea to get this team back and going. I think it is something that Strathmore has missed the last couple of seasons. I think it's good for us to have this quality of a team. It's just the amount that's going to be interesting.
Councillor Peterson.
I move that Strathmore Town Council offer the Strathmore Wheat Kings 2014 ice cost rates at the youth rate of $122.53 for a term of 1 year, with the understanding that the team will work with Strathmore Recreation Manager Tracy Simpson to make up the donation, or the waiver, sorry, of $5,089.
The reason I was smiling is she's trying to write it all down. And may I ask one further question? You'd indicated that you're trying to fundraise to build a dressing room in the arena, and that, of course, will become owned by the arena?
Yep.
As such? And that has a value of approximately $20,000? And there's no money being put out by the town in regards to the building? Thank you.
Plus, we'll be paying the lease.
Yeah, exactly. I'd also just like to say in addition that I'm really impressed that you're passing the savings along to the players. It's really important. I really appreciate that.
Most of them go to school and have
Yeah, I know.
jobs.
I know.
Seeing as you mentioned that, I'll ask one further question. Are they students that come in from out of town, or are they just students from this area, from Strathmore?
Some of both.
Some of both.
I know last year we had 5 or 6 locals who went to Okotoks, High River, Three Hills to play because the team wasn't here any longer.
Okay.
My official line is that if there's a local kid and he's good enough to play, he plays.
Right on.
Right? But at the same time, we gotta maintain a quality product on the ice.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
I just
Deputy
had one more,
Mayor
thank you, one last comment. My own personal feeling, and I do want to see this team get off the ground again. I could live easier with the blended rate than I could just going down to an automatic youth rate. Is that where we're going? Your motion says 120,
122.53.
which is the youth rate,
That's what I think they need.
the youth rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're young.
No, I
Yeah.
was just saying,
Yeah.
personally, I could live with the blended rate a little bit easier than I could just going to the youth rate.
I guess, Your Worship, my comment is, I will support this motion because we're going to get some good quality volunteer coming from these guys. So I'm okay with this for one term. Get these guys back on their feet and we can renegotiate next year. I guess if I could, may, Your Worship, to Dr. Stanford, is it possible to get this on our spring budget, categorize, or rather our fall budget, to put that elite group in there like Deputy Mayor?
We can talk about it.
Thank you.
No.
Further discussion? Councillor Blokeland.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the chair. I think you already said something about the previous budget. Maybe it wasn't all categorized properly, or there was some misunderstanding in certain areas. I'm still looking at some of these numbers here on your expenses under jerseys. You go from a negative 302 which I don't understand, but you go up to over 6,000.
You don't purchase jerseys every year. So there was probably extra patches and stuff that were carried over to the next year. That's why there's a negative value in the previous year.
Okay.
Currently, we have to buy new jerseys though.
And then your coaching, under registration, your coaching clinics and wage, it goes from $95 up to 14,000
14,000 in the new?
on 2014-15, yeah. That's quite a,
Yeah, so the coach of the previous team was the owner and general manager of the previous team. So we've since brought on probably one of the best coaches I think we could have possibly got. He won provincials in midget AA. He was the coach of the year in Calgary. So they didn't have that expense prior
oh, this is kind of like a wage
because it was
expense?
an owner-operated team
Yeah, this is
before.
wages, salary.
Oh, okay.
whatever you call it.
Just curious. Thank you.
Further discussion? We have a motion on the floor.
Do you want me to reread the
Read it
motion?
back.
Yes.
Please.
I move that Strathmore Town Council offer the Strathmore Wheat Kings 2014 ice cost rates at the youth rate of $122.53 for a term of 1 year, with the understanding that the team will work with Strathmore Recreation Manager Tracy Simpson to make up the waiving of this $5,089.
We have a motion on the floor. Did you have any discussion?
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify one last thing. How many players?
20.
We can field 21 and we're allowed to card 25 by December the 5th.
Okay, I'm just trying to, so you're running a deficit of $6,500.
Based on
your
the budget, yeah.
And this is going to save you,
$5,089.
okay, how do we get that number? Somebody help me here.
$5,089 was the difference between the youth rate and the adult rate.
Yes,
Well,
we took our,
there's $70 difference between the adult rate and the youth rate,
Youth and the blended rate.
we used the blended rate, sorry, on the budget.
which is 140,
160 bucks.
160.
And then, so the variance between the blended rate and the youth rate is 37 bucks for.
Right,
And then we have a 6-month season if we
Right.
don't make it to playoffs.
Okay.
And 5 3/4 hours ice rental per week.
right on. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? And carried.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you there.
Awesome. You betcha.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Community Standards Bylaw Amendments 1410, and administration bringing that forward.
Mr. Worship, and what happened with this bylaw? It looks like they repealed the wrong bylaw numbers. So Jennifer is just bringing this bylaw back forward and putting the correct bylaws in that should have been repealed. So she just like to change that last sentence in the bylaw.
Okay, we have,
I would move that council give first reading to bylaw 14-10, Community Standards Bylaw Amendment Bylaw.
all in favor? Carried.
Worship, I move that council give second reading to bylaw 14-10, Community Standards Bylaw Amendment Bylaw.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried.
Your worship, I would move that council give unanimous consent to a third reading of bylaw number 14-10, Community Standards Bylaw Amendment Bylaw.
All in favor? And carried.
Your worship, I move the council give third and final reading to bylaw 14-10 Community Standards Bylaw Amendment Bylaw.
Any discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And next item on our agenda is new business, and I've got 8.0, which is Ms. Simpson. I never wrote down what 8.0 was. Website. Oh, right. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So as you know, in the 2014 budget, council approved funds to do a redesign and development of our town website. So on May 1st, we put out an RFP onto the Alberta Purchasing Connection website, asking for proposals. It was open for just over a month, it's about 5 weeks, and we received 30 proposals in total, which was way more than we expected. The proposals ranged in price from $10,735 to $33,117, and they were from the majority of them from North America and a few from overseas. Myself, Jennifer, and Dan set out to review 30 proposals, and we used specific criteria that was laid out in the RFP, including price, specific requirements of the website, like a calendar and job posting boards and all those features that we're looking for, as well as previous work experience in specifically in municipal and community website developments. From there, we were able to narrow it down, and then we continued to review them based more on their creative and their design techniques, as well as how long they've been in business. A large portion of the website's companies had only been in business 1 or 2 years, and we felt that wasn't, we weren't confident in committing to a company for 7+ years if they only been around for a few years. So we brought it down to 4 companies, and we felt that we needed to follow up, so we did interviews and live web demonstrations where they could walk us through the back end of a website. One of our big concerns is that Jennifer and I are not very tech savvy, and so we want to make sure that we can update the website easily without Dan's help on a day-to-day basis. And in the end, we had 2 companies stand out, and they were fairly equal. They had par on all their experience, price, and so we went with a local company, which is Twist Marketing out of Calgary. Their website proposal came in at $27,000 plus GST. They're kind of mid-range, and that's our recommendation, is that we reward the website redesign project to Twist Marketing.
Alrighty, and Councillor Walls.
Your worship, to Tracy, did he give you a time frame on how quick you can get this done and when it'll be operating?
Yeah, so in their proposal, their timeline is 12 weeks. And that doesn't include any staff training. In speaking with them, they felt that because you take 12 weeks to develop it, you learn quite a bit, and they don't feel that an in-depth training at the end is needed. But if you do, they'll add that on, and it'll be another couple days.
Deputy Mayor Phil?
Just a question through the chair to Tracy and Jen. As that 12-week process is going on, do they allow you ladies the opportunity to monitor and see how the web page is going to look and how the site will operate?
Absolutely. One of the first steps in the process is the design of it, and their creative team comes up with a number of kind of designs that's nothing to do with the content, just how it's going to look. So fonts and color and graphics and the layout, and then that's approved by us before we move forward into the content phase, which is the biggest chunk, obviously, of the development. Yeah.
Will we be able to play Farmville on it?
No.
Okay, just wanted to check.
You will be able to apply for a job online, though.
That's
In case you know you're
very
looking.
good.
And will they be providing ongoing support?
Yes. They provide hosting, which vaguely familiar that means it's on a server somewhere that they monitor, and they do updates and ensure that the website doesn't crash. And we pay a licensing fee to them, which means they continue to update it and resolve any glitches in the near future. And once the website is developed, our contract with them is a year to year, so at any time we can change that. We're not locked in for any number of years.
Did they give us an idea in regards to what the price would be for the year-to-year contract?
Yes. They did. The year, it's $1,188 per year plus tax.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I would move that council award the Town of Strathmore website redesign project to Twist Marketing for an amount not to exceed $27,000 plus GST, and that the mayor and CAO are authorized to sign the contract on behalf of the town.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried.
Thank you for your work.
Yes, thank you very much.
Next item on our agenda is Bow River Phosphorus Management Plan and Administration. We'll touch base on that.
Didn't we
8.1?
jump one?
8.1, MSI.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Municipal Sustainability Initiative amending memorandum of agreement and Director of Corporate Services.
Good. We all know what MSI is, Municipal Sustainability Initiative. Now, there was an item called the Street Improvement, SIP, and then it became the Municipal Transportation Grant, and then in April, it was all consolidated into MSI. At one time, as you know, they claimed 77 grants, and they cut them down to about 17. They're continuing to cut it down because there was too many to keep track of.
Questions? And Councillor Walls.
Your Worship, Dr. Stanford, can you please advise what BMTG stands for?
Basic Municipal Transportation Grant.
Perfect, thank you very much. Council ready, I'd move the council authorize the mayor and CEO to sign the amending a memorandum of agreement with Municipal Affairs.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. And now we'll get back on track. And 8.2, Bow River Phosphorus Management Plan. Administration.
Your Worship, Jesse Parker's attended the Bow River Phosphorus Management Group for a long time, and he goes on a regular basis. He's very active on the group, and then they sent this letter thanking him for the work that he's done on there. So we thought it'd be nice if we at least presented it to council.
Can I entertain a motion, please?
Your Worship, I would move that council accept the letter recognizing Mr. Parker for the work that he has done on the Bow River Phosphorus Management Plan for information.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried.
And just offer our congratulations. Wonderful.
And 8.3 is a happy moment. Betty Ann Fountain applied Land Use Planning Certificate Administration.
Your Worship, I just wanted to bring Betty Ann forward to be recognized for her accomplishments in completing the applied land use planning certificate for the University of Alberta. And I forwarded a letter to council today from the university, and if you don't mind, I'll just read it out.
Please.
Dear Ms. Nelson, we are pleased to bring to your attention the good news that Ms. Betty Ann Fountain has completed the Applied Land Use Planning Certificate Program at the University of Alberta. Graduating from this program is a meritorious achievement that deserves recognition because it represents a combination of dedication to learning, great effort, and personal sacrifice on the part of the graduates, as well as generous and enlightened support on the part of their families and employers. We believe that our graduates are better able to succeed on their jobs and meet the increasingly complex and ever-growing challenges they face in their careers. I hope that you will join me in acknowledging this accomplishment and in congratulating our graduate. And it is signed by Michelle Zoner.
Will entertain a motion.
Worship, I move that council recognize Betty Ann Fountain for her accomplishment in completing the Applied Land Use Planning Certification Program and say congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you very much.
And we have that motion on the floor. All in favor? And carried. Next item on the agenda, under is Dwight Stanford 40-year long service award. And this item is being brought forward by council. And if I might, I will just read a little bit of information. CAMA, which is the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, recognized Dr. Stanford while he was in Niagara Falls for 40 years of service, and he was officially recognized by his peers at that time. They also mentioned to us that he had achieved the 40-year pin. And I'll just read the information that I have in regards to that. In May 2014, Dwight was presented with 40-year long service award pin for his service as CAO, or reporting to a CAO in municipal government. Dwight has his PhD in business administration. He attended the university in Texas, Oklahoma, and mostly in Brigham Young University in Utah. His 40-year career consists of the following positions from the earliest to the present. He worked for the federal government as supervisor of budgets and administration for air traffic control in Edmonton, supervisor of budgets and administration for Prairie Farm Rehabilitation Administration in Regina, Saskatchewan, auditor for federal government and Department of Finance in Toronto, Ontario, director of business development, Alberta government, manager of economic development, City of Kamloops, BC, county manager for the County of Vulcan, Alberta, municipal manager in Okotoks, Alberta, county manager, municipal district of Cardston, Alberta, town manager in Edson, Alberta, and of course CAO town of Strathmore, Alberta for the past 22 years. And so we would ask that you please join me in congratulating Dwight on his 40 years of excellent service to the public.
It was really neat when we were in Niagara Falls. We had a really large turnout, and it gave me an opportunity to go up and talk for a few minutes. And anyway, it was very neat that evening to get that award. And the pin they gave me is a beautiful pin with a diamond in it.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Congratulations.
That's quite an achievement. How many people across Canada have received that pin? 40 years.
There was 2 this time.
Usually about 2 a year.
Yeah, that's what I would think. It's amazing.
Wow. We didn't do that as a motion. Do we want to put a motion in on that also at the same time? That council recognized?
I would move that council recognize Dwight Stanford for his outstanding dedication and long service to the public as municipal administrator.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried.
Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And we have museum committee now, and that was being brought forward.
Yes. Thank you, Your Worship. So there is a newly established museum committee, a standalone committee, and it is peopled by communities in Strathmore and surrounding community. And we are just in the process of writing our bylaws and seeking incorporation. And even though we have had opportunity to accept donations from people who have come forward, we are leery of doing that until we have society status and until we are fully incorporated because of the laws of our land. In order to do that, there is some small expense to be incurred in applying for society status and searching for existing names to make sure that we're not in violation. So I would like to ask council's agreement with the motion that I'm about to make, which is to donate the amount of $250 to the Museum Committee, to the Strathmore and District Museum Committee, for startup costs with regards to incorporation and application for society status and name search.
Alrighty, do we have any questions? Deputy Mayor Fuel.
My only question would be, where do we take the money from? Or does that get specified in the motion at all? The money's to be taken from?
Financial stabilization.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Is that your motion, or did you want
That's
to
my
make-
motion.
That's your motion,
Yes.
okay.
Including Dr. Stanford's interjection, financial stabilization budget.
Money coming from financial stabilization, okay. Councillor Sullivan.
Just one question. It's not a society, but it is an organization, so the check could be made out to what?
I think what would have to happen, because we are neither at this point, I think what would have to happen is, as the costs will probably be incurred by an individual, they'd have to submit their bills to the town up to that amount and not beyond.
That's okay.
That would work. Okay. Any further questions?
So,
Yes?
Your Worship, then, to Dr. Sanford, shall we declare a conflict of interest?
Since you're on the committee,
No, since he might be there, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so either. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? And carried. Next item on our agenda is donation to the Museum Committee. I guess we've taken
No,
care
that's
of that.
good, you've got that.
We've taken care of that. Thank you. Seniors Advisory Committee appointment and administration, please.
Your Worship, I just have an amendment to this motion. We received a second appointment application last minute, so I just wanted to add on another name, which is Ms. Elizabeth Fleming. So if we could just change the motion to appoint Ms. Carol Curry and Ms. Elizabeth Fleming.
2 years.
2 years, yes.
So we make one motion with the two names on it. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've just had the two so far, do they?
As far as I know.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for Ms. Fleming and Ms. Curry being appointed to the Seniors Advisory Committee. Is there any discussion?
I don't
So
think we
moved.
have a motion, Your Worship.
No?
We don't
So
have a
no?
motion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Your Worship, I move that.
Okay.
I move the council appoint Ms. Carol Curry and Ms. Elizabeth Fleming to the Seniors Advisory Council for a term of 2 years.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. And that takes care of all of that. And then committee and,
Your Worship, before you jump there,
Yes.
just a quick question to, I guess it'd be Dr. Stanford. Is this information, like the volunteer application form, normally part of the public information that's rolled out to the public? Or you're disclosing a lot of personal information about these people? Is that normal?
Good point. We should be cautious on how much we give out.
Thank
Because
you.
of FOIA.
good catch, good catch.
Thank you.
Good catch. Committee and department reports. Administration, there's nothing under administration. Okay. And committee department reports, Councillor Sobel, would you like to start?
I would, Your Worship. The Strathmore, Alberta 55 Plus Summer Games, the directors meeting was held on June 23rd, and I was out of town on personal matters, unable to attend. In addition, however, the Sustainability Committee for the 55 Plus Games for which I'm chair, did meet on June 30th, and I was in attendance. This was, in my opinion, a very creative and defining movement for this particular committee. And we were able to determine 10 separate projects that we will undertake, all focusing on not only sustainability but for the Summer Games, but also to provide some significant legacy for our town. For the Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team, or SWAT, the committee meeting was held on June 5th, but I was unable to attend due to a conflict with another Calgary Regional Partnership transportation meeting. The major event for this group was, however, the release of the newly developed youth programs in Strathmore and area brochure. And I found it, and I do have a copy of it. I'll just pass along to council. So those brochures have now been printed, and they will be distributed to a number of locations in the town and the county. And basically, it supplies information as to what groups are out there for youths, with the concept, of course, being that a busy youth is a youth that's not getting in trouble. So it's an information bulletin mostly. Next was the Transportation Committee for the Calgary Regional Partnership. A transportation meeting was held in Cochrane on June 5th, and presentations were made on the topics of regional transportation and complete mobility, and also a review of the marketing strategy for the Regional Transportation Group was conducted. Next committee was the Downtown Revitalization Committee. The big event for this committee was our submission and presentation for Let's Make a Pitch on June 19th, 2014. We were not successful in our particular project, which consisted of a concept of a freestanding building erected on the east end of Kinsman Park, with phase one consisting of a frame and roof, and dimensions are being 30 by 100 feet. The structure could house 20 potential stalls to be used by the farmers market and community groups. Future phases would include, or could include, a kitchen and washrooms and enclosed stalls and walls. Although not successful, the project was recognized by the judges, who made a deal with the committee to donate $5,000 each, for a total of $15,000, subject to committing to engage at least 7 additional $5,000 sponsors, which would make it for a total of $50,000. The committee has until the end of September to secure the additional sponsors. Lastly was the Council Policy Review Committee. There was no meeting held in June, and that's my reports for June, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Bookman?
Thank you, Your Worship. June 16th, I attended a handy bus meeting. Several donations were received and are still coming in on a constant basis. We're still working on our policy reviews, should have final approval done by July. After hours transportation with regards to Sagewood, we had 2 trips. We serviced 413 clients in May, with the bulk being physically challenged to going to medical appointments. Repairs and maintenance on 6 vehicles so far for 2014 is at about $2,500. And our new van should be here in September. Chamber of Commerce, there was no meeting held in June. WDEMSA, June 16th, discussed accounting reporting practices to Alberta Health Services, since that's all changed now from what it used to be. Some modifications have to be applied as we do these reports quarterly. We discussed AHS taking over EMS dispatch services April 1st, 2015, and related dispatch issues that are ongoing. Call volumes for 2014 so far are 1,399. That's a 2% increase over last year. The WDEMSA 25th anniversary party was a very successful evening. We're also in the process of purchasing a new ambulance, actually leasing one, I guess. These things cost just about $150,000. We have to replace our defibrillators.
Defibrillators.
They're all 6 to 12 years old. These things are $23,000 each. But I guess apparently there's a market for the used ones. We can sell for about $5,000 each. That's it for WDEMSA.
Thank you. Councillor Rempel?
Councillor Walls.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Councillor Walls, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I thought maybe you'd save the best for last.
Yes.
In no particular order, Wheatland Lodge, both Deputy Mayor Fuel and myself attended. Just some highlights there. The QP contract has been ratified, and we're in the process of putting some new plumbing in the building. United Way, We're still looking for volunteers and superheroes to take up some months. I personally want to thank the staff, the board, and the volunteers for working very hard on Canada Day to raise some funds. There was no audit meeting. I'm not sure if there's a names advisory committee meeting. I think there was. We were trying to schedule one, but I don't know if it actually. You did.
And we did bring the.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Library, so Councillor Peterson and I attended. What they did is they created another society to help fundraise. Currently in the process of being able to apply for giving out, help me out, Councillor Peterson, tax receipts.
Yes,
Yes, tax receipts.
charitable status.
Charitable status, thank you. And they're actively organizing the parade float.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Councillor Ripple.
Well, the Citizens on Patrol didn't have a meeting, and the Ames Advisory Committee didn't have a meeting. At the Happy Gang, just general discussion on things that were happening in the community. I see that they've installed the asphalt sidewalk to the south set of doors there now. So next week we're going to have another meeting. I'm sure there'll be some comments coming from that. Other than that, there was not much going on.
Okay, good. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. The youth club had a brief meeting on June 24th. The meeting was primarily focused on preparing the presentation of the MOU for the July 16th council meeting. As Councillor Walls mentioned, I was at the Wheatland Housing meeting, and the only other thing to add is July 10th, there is a seniors barbecue, which has been a huge event each year. The students, Strathmore Assembly of Youth went on a year-end wrap-up disc golf tournament out of town on June 25th, but I was not able to go because of work. And you and I are meeting with the teacher advisor on Monday, July 21st, I believe.
Yes.
And those are my reports.
Thank you. And Councillor Peterson.
I attended SRAC, the Strathmore Regional Arts, and they have received most, but not all of the culture grant funding for which they applied. So that was very good news. And I'm not sure the exact amount. I think they got 4,000. Right in that area. They applied for 5, I think they got 4. And so that means that there'll be a 2-day art walk to take place in the end of September. And our next meeting will be dedicated to setting that up. We're very fortunate that Betty Ann Fountain has, and I neglected to mention this before, has come forward to act as secretary to that group. That's been a huge and wonderful addition. And Wanda Reinhold, who also is very active in SRAC, has been busy gathering artisans in the community, and some have come forward to offer to run programs in Strathmore, and a potter from Langdon expressed interest in starting a pottery program for youth in our community. So we're excited to see the beginnings of this conceptual program coming together. And so even though SRAC does not have a place, they have a concept, and it's beginning to take form. And they have also established a very, very beautiful logo. And I'll bring it to you soon. Marigold, they're continuing to look for opportunities to support local community libraries, and have reported on that on their webpage. And a province-wide library access process is currently underway and should become a reality in this year, which means that once you belong to Marigold, you can be on the track system and access several libraries, but in the very near future, you'll be able to access province-wide. And so that's exciting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for me, and I will give you a written copy, Jennifer, so you don't have to worry about trying to.
Yeah, and I'm sending it to you too, Jennifer.
Museum committee,
Linda.
I was unable to attend because of a personal conflict. I attended the Family Center Advisory Committee, and they met on June 10th, and all groups were represented. Items discussed were logos for the ice for the 2014-2015 season, and they received a reminder in regards to outstanding invoices, a reminder to have authorized persons sign any releases for FOIP, Confirmation of tournaments and special events for next season and a review of the master race schedule was presented. And the rules for activity while using the family center was discussed. There will be a new operator, and while they're training, they were advised that it may take a little longer for them to get on the ice. The committee at that time was also given some information on making a presentation to Let's Make a Pitch, but it was pretty short notice for them. One group has been applying for a grant to assist in their funding, and the committee was made aware of the need for volunteers for the Plus 55 games next year. And information was shared with them to assist with the Canada Day activity if they wanted. I attended the Calgary Regional Partnership on June 17th, and it was a meeting for their General Assembly. Mayors, councillors, and CAOs for all partners and invited guests were in attendance, which included our CAO and Councillor Sobel. And financial statements were reviewed and approved, and an auditor was appointed. And the CRP at that time presented workshops and booths from the partners, and information was set up for all people gathered to learn a little bit more. And an updated Calgary Metropolitan Plan was signed. And I didn't attend any other committee meetings during June. And administration, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Under economic development, building permits, it's coming good this year. Matter of fact, on single-family houses, it's just over 3 times as many as last year at this time. Also on the commercial, the one permit alone for the new Calgary Co-op was $6 million. So anyway, things are looking good this year. And between now and the end of the year, should turn out pretty good. Next year will even be better.
Good, thank you. That's all. That's all the reports. Motion.
Worship, I'd move that council accept the reports as information.
Any discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Carried. And now, questions between councillors to administration. And let's start on the other end this evening. Councillor Rempel.
Nothing for me.
No? Okay. Deputy Mayor Field?
Just a question that came from a resident, Your Worship, on my Facebook page. Just wondering, when there are town job postings, if there are ever any wage ranges given or salary ranges. They're noticing that there's job postings, but nothing about salaries.
We don't actually post the wages,
Okay.
but if people call in and ask them.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Peterson?
Nothing.
Nothing? Councillor Sobel?
Yes, Your Worship, to our CAO, and I don't mean to put you on a spot like this, but it was just something that I recalled quite recently. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to what the plans are for our entry signs at both sides of the highway?
Sure. The one on the east side of town, they're going to have it raised 3 feet higher so you can see it. I notified them a long time ago, a month and a half or so, to get it done as soon as they could. And they contracted out to a company to do it. And so far, the company hasn't done it. We'll follow up again to get that done. On the west side of town, we were sort of waiting to see if we could purchase some land in a certain location. And we are not going to be able to. So therefore, we'll decide where we want to move the sign to. And obviously, we want it way closer to the highway. We have approval from Alberta Transportation to put it in the ditch, and maybe we'll have it 3 feet higher as well.
It's a beautiful sign.
Are we planning any kind of trees around it, or any kind of
Yes, yes.
lighting?
Yes, and they have to have lighting too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all in the plans for before winter, we figure.
Yeah, hopefully they get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bothwell?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a minor question to administration regarding parks, and I, along with the rest of council, they did a great job. They always do every year. The town looks great. There's one little spot downtown on the Royal Bank side on 2nd Street where we have 3 trees in the grates. And I believe that's on town sidewalk, right?
Are you talking about the The pots there?
Nope, the trees that are growing up and they're in those grates.
Yes, okay, those are ours.
Yeah, the grass is about 3 feet high on those things. Is there a chance we can get that cleaned up?
Yeah, we'll get right on that. And then sort of relates that, there's a few pots down there that have weeds in them big time.
Yep.
And we're approaching the owner of it to get it cleaned up right away.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Walz?
Your worship, just a couple of comments. First of all, I'd like to thank Councillor Sobel for all of his tireless work yesterday, getting that organized, the dunk tank. I know my daughter personally enjoyed throwing some balls at Rob, but unfortunately, she was unsuccessful.
We enjoy taking your money, sir.
Yeah. And I did make a couple of comments that I had some other money to give to donate, but unfortunately, we weren't able to. I received a couple of comments about the exceptional job that Tracy and the town staff did, and I really wanted to express my personal appreciation for all of their hard work. I know they spent a lot of time organizing that, and they were there probably very late. I just really want to appreciate, say thank you for their hard work.
They did a great job, and we thanked them. We'll thank them again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you.
Also, thanks to Councillor Sobel and the Downtown Revitalization Committee for their great work, because that's just, I am really excited about the potential for that. You guys did a great job.
Councillor Russell?
I do have one question.
By all means.
Through the chair to administration, we had budgeted $12,000 for some floor shuffleboard mats, and we're really hoping that we would have them in place for this summer. I'm just wondering what if they've been ordered and when we might expect to receive them, so that I'd like to report back to the Happy Gang and to some other interested members in the community that would like to make use of that.
And I did ask Tracy about that, and I will make sure I get an answer back to you by tomorrow.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I do have a couple of items. First of all, I would like to thank Councillor Walz very much for filling in for me at the rodeo on Saturday. I really appreciate that. I had a personal issue that I had to resolve, and I couldn't attend as I had promised. So thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome, Your Worship.
The other question I have to administration is, I have heard that we are attending the Langdon Parade on July the 19th, but I haven't heard anything about it. So I'm just wondering if we know anything about that.
No, we don't plan on going to that. We picked the four,
Yes.
remember, and it's an emotional that we're going Standard, Rockford, Azar, and here.
That's what I thought. Okay, good. Thank you. To Councillor Sobel, I enjoyed the dunk tank.
Enjoyed having you, Your Worship.
I did not.
You say it with tongue in cheek like I do. And the other one to Councillor Peterson in regards to Schrack and your arts walk in late September. I'd like to be able to sit down and chat with you in regards to organizing a long lunch to sort of kick that off on that day.
You could come to a meeting. We have a meeting. I'm sure Brandy would. Well, Brandy might not. She's pretty jealous about her agendas. But you could request permission from Brandy Epps to be on her agenda on Tuesday night. It's this coming Tuesday. Yeah, the 9th.
Okay. Thank you. And that's all for me. Do you have anything?
No, Your Worship.
No?
If I may, Your Worship?
You may.
Thank you. Good evening once again. I'm going to try to get through this without the teary thing, but given my circumstances with my family, bear with me. I just wanted to personally thank Dwight Stanford and Linda Nelson for their support for the last 4 years. Without their mentoring and their coaching and their enthusiasm for me to succeed, I would not have graduated from the ALUP. And although there are certain people in my family who did not get to witness my certificate, I know that he has sought. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Your
Thank
Worship.
you.
Well done.
Thank you.
And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.
Invitations, Your Worship?
Oh, I'm really good at this, aren't I? Do we have any council invitations? Did I send anything out?
I do have one.
By all means, sir.
So this coming Saturday, July 5th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.,
Oh, right.
Alberta Plus 55 Games are hosting a information session in regards to the games and volunteer potential. And the big thing, of course, is there's also barbecue being supplied by the Lions, beef on the bun. So I encourage everyone to attend. There'll be a couple of booths set up, one for the Friends of the Games, where they'll have their materials and a presentation set to go through with anyone that is thinking about sponsoring our games. There's also going to be another booth set up to entice volunteers, billets, participants, etc. Our new golf cart, which is decorated for our parades, will be present. And we also have live entertainment. Charlie Butler is going to be attending and playing. And if you haven't heard Charlie Butler, I've heard him a number of times, and he's great entertainment. So I encourage everybody. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. I encourage everybody to come out and support the Alberta plus 55 plus games. And hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other invitations? Seeing none? No. No items in regards to in-camera?
No. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning? Carried. Done.